Hi everybody, I'm Annie Harbison Alfarano and I'm going to be sharing a little bit of movement for you to get into your body today. So you'll likely want to have a few props with you. I like to have a set of blocks and also a blanket. You can use a pillow or something that has a little bit of padding or cushion to it to give you some extra support. So go ahead and come to your mat and lie down. Find a comfortable position. Extend your legs, rest your arms down by your sides, and take a few cleansing breaths. So in through your nose and out through your mouth. And see if you can draw your breath all the way into your low belly. So as you inhale, your belly expands like a balloon. And then as you exhale, it gently releases. You can also imagine your breath going in through your nose, lifting your chest, expanding your ribs, and opening up your belly. And then as you exhale, it goes in the opposite direction. So your belly lowers, your ribs knit in, and your chest goes back to its natural position. So take a few breaths here, incorporating deep sighs of release as you like. If you know Ujjayi breath, or that ocean wave sounding breath, you can go ahead and incorporate that in now. The main thing is that you stay breathing. Very nice. Take another scan of your body. Notice if there's any tension being held in your jaw, your tongue, even through your shoulders, your hips, your ankles. Extend those areas, create some extra space. See if you can let your body just rest on the floor a little bit deeper. Allow it to be a little bit more settled. Good, and then place your right hand on your belly and then your left hand on your heart. And just pause here. Maybe even send a wave of gratitude to your body, to your mind, and the dance between the two. Good, and then let your arms rest by your sides, inch your legs together, and draw your left knee in. Wrap your hands below your knee, under your thigh, or wherever it feels good. Take Apanasana, or wind releasing pose, okay? Or knee to chest, whatever you like to call this. Maybe you add a little mobility through your ankle, expand through your toes. I know I really like to kind of explore different movements. Good, keep breathing. Maybe as you exhale, you're able to draw your knee in towards your chest a little bit more. Very nice. Good. From here, we're going to take a twist. So keep your right hand where it is. Extend your left arm out away from you. And then drop your knee over to the right. Good. Take a few breaths. Maybe you add a blanket or pillow under your knee here. It's a great place for a prop. It's not touching the floor, or even under your shoulder. Just allows the joints to rest with a little bit more ease. Very nice. On your next breath, draw yourself up, extend that leg, maybe add a little bit of movement to the knees. And then guide your right knee in towards your chest. Wrap your hands below your knee. Maybe you mimic similar movements on this side. Exploring rotation in the ankle joint, maybe flexion, extension, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, all that jazz. Good. As you exhale, pull your knee in a little bit more. Take another sip of air and then cross your body. Extend your right arm this time. Drop your knee to the left. See if you can keep your shoulders grounded to the floor. Maybe you take the chin to the opposite shoulder. The key is to find comfort in your body in every shape that we take. So we want to tune into your breath. What's the texture of it? How deep is it? How long are your inhales and your exhales? Maybe just start to notice those qualities of your breath. Beautiful. Another sip of air in and exhale. Release. Come back to the floor. Maybe notice the sensations through your body. Notice what that movement did for you. Good. And then draw both knees in, plant your feet on the floor, and take a little bit of a bridge here. Just guiding the hips up and down. Exploring movement through the hip flexors, sensation in the glutes and hamstrings. If you have any knee issues, you may want to keep your feet a little bit away from your tush. If you have more availability there, you may want to draw your heels in. Good. So just gentle, slow movement here, nothing too extreme. We're opening up the lower back as well. So we want to be really kind to our low back. It gets a lot of work. It's very compressed between the vertebrae, so we want to add space with our movement. Good, and settle in here. Maybe widen your feet as wide as your mat. Drop your knees into touch. Pause. Maybe rest your hands on your belly. Feel the breath move in and out. You may notice that your breath deepens or lowers into your lower abdomen as you settle into your practice. Many of us walk around breathing just into our chest, so we stay in that hyper-aware state more frequently. Take another deep belly breath, expanding your belly out, and then letting it go. Beautiful. Then make your way up to a seated position. I kind of like to roll like a ball a little bit here to come to a seat, or you can roll to one side. Okay, come to cross legs. I'll face you here. Either leg can go in front. Take your palms to your knees and start to take a few Sufi grinds. So we're just guiding the torso around the axis of the lower vertebrae. This can enhance Kundalini energy. So the Kundalini is a life force energy, and it sits at the base of your spine. And by practicing yoga, doing breath work, meditation, we're able to access this energy a little bit more. Good. You may notice different sensations happening in your body. Maybe you feel a little bit more open, more alive. Good. And then when you're ready, reverse to your direction. We want to go both ways just to create equanimity in the body, to create some sense of balance. You may even notice that one side is a little bit tighter than the other. That's completely normal. Good. Keep that breath going. See if you can soften your face a little bit more. Good. And then come back to center. Place your hands behind you and switch the cross of your legs. Okay, this time, take your arms up overhead. Place one hand down to the floor and reach the other one up and over. You may guide your chin or gaze to the crease of your elbow. Main thing is to keep your hips grounded to the floor. So I don't want to peel my hip up off the floor. I want to stay grounded through my hips. okay? Helps me feel a little bit more stable and secure in my body, helps me feel a little bit more connected to my body and the world around me. Good. See if you can breathe into the spaces between your rib bones. Good. Also create space between the shoulders and ears. Very nice. And then lift up, reach both arms up again. Take a full breath. And exhale to the other side. When we do this unilateral work, you may notice that one side has a little bit more sensation than the other. That's totally normal. Just honor your body. So if you need to make modifications from one side to the other, go ahead and do that, okay? Very nice. Again, pay attention to your breath. Create that nice long line of stretch from the top of your hip all the way through your fingertips. Take another sip of air here. Good. And then inhale, reach up and fold forward. For a gentle forward fold, you can keep your chest lifted if that feels better for you, or kind of surrender to the floor, surrender to the earth here. Again, you want to be mindful that you keep your hips placed on the floor. Another great thing I like to add when I'm doing any kind of seated work is a blanket under my tush or a block if you need it. I find that a rolled blanket works very well, or folded blanket. Good, and then walk your hands back to center and then come onto all fours. So your hands will be right underneath your shoulders, fingers spread wide, and your knees underneath your hips. Maybe even expand through your toes. Play with the position of your feet. Maybe you tuck your toes, maybe you keep your feet flat. Okay? See what feels best in your body. Then sway from side to side, really trying to establish that equal weight in both sides of the body, kind of like the scales of the Libra, right? Finding that sense of balance. Good. As you're ready, begin to add a little bit of arching and rounding through the spine, or what we often call cat and cow. So as you round, you're exhaling, tucking your chin, dropping your hips, and then as you inhale, you're finding that arch in the back, openness through the chest and throat. Good. And keep moving with your breath, exploring motion. You may even want to kind of exaggerate or explore a little bit more movement. So I call this a cat dance. So really take the time to find what feels good in your body. Just because we're doing a little work here doesn't mean it doesn't need to be pleasurable. So I'm a big fan of accessing what your body really is asking for, and usually it's a sign that it feels good. Okay, good. So from cat here, cat cow, explore that movement, and then extend your left foot back, okay? Walk your right fingertips forward, and when you're ready, lift the leg off the mat, and then reach your arm up. So your bicep is kind of grazing your ear. Hold this for a couple breath cycles, really adding some stabilization here. A lot of core work. You'll probably feel it pretty quickly. Fire kind of energy in your whole body, really. Good. On your next exhale, draw your elbow and knee into touch, sending the middle of your back up towards the ceiling or sky. And then inhale, reach long. Be sure you're flexing through your foot. You don't want your leg to go super high. You want to try to create a nice straight line. And then exhale again. And do a few movements just like that. Moving with your breath. Good. Extend and then come back to your mat. Maybe you sway from side to side. Maybe you want to take a wide knee child's pose. Do whatever feels good in your body. Take a little bit more cat dance, sway through the hips. Maybe even stretch out the wrists. There's so many options, okay? Great, and then return to your table. Extend through your right leg this time, toes curled under. Find that straight leg as much as possible. We want to be aware of hyperextending our knees at all times or any of our joints, so be mindful of that. Then walk your left fingertips forward, and as you're ready, lift off, creating that long line from your fingertips of your left hand through the heel of your right foot. Good, holding here, trying to find that quality of strength, stability. Good, even some stretch. Great, on your next exhale, draw your elbow and knee in to touch, send the middle of your back up towards the sky. Inhale, reach, get long. Exhale, round. Good, take a couple more like that, moving with your breath. Great. And then rest your hand and your knee back to the floor. Sway from side to side. Shift your shoulders past your wrists. Good. Then a little bit of wrist work here. Maybe you shake your wrists out. This is a really popular stretch for your wrists, but to take it a little bit further, you may want to extend or straighten your elbow. So create a stop sign here. We're going to stretch the extensor muscle or the flexor muscles here, okay? Those that kind of flex your wrists like that. So take your opposite hand on top of your fingers and pull back gently. Just to that point of stretch. You don't have to yank or anything like that. Just gently pull back. Keep breathing through it. Beautiful, and then switch directions. So this time we're gonna stretch the tops of our forearms, the extensor muscles that help our wrist do this action. They even, those muscles even extend through the hand, okay? So if you got any achiness or you work with your hands or your body or even you write a lot and sit at a computer, this is a really great stretch. This is great for carpal tunnel as well, both sides of this practice here. So make sure you do both. Good. And then shake out that hand, maybe wave, give it a hang 10. Good. And then let's do the other side. So first find that stop sign, take the other hand to the fingers and pull back. So you want to feel the stretch here. Great. You may even feel it through the palm. Good. Take another full breath. And then switch directions. Good. So pull the fingers back again, really open up the front of the hand, or the back of the hand, excuse me. And then open up the top of the wrist, the top of the forearm. Here, good. You can even curl your fingers under to get a little more sensation. Very nice, and then shake it out, hang 10. Good, and then return to your mat. Good. Curl your toes under, refind your table. Then as you're ready, lift your knees up off your mat. See if you can allow your knees to hover here. And notice the sensations you feel in your body. First, be sure that you're not cranking your neck, okay? So pay attention to what you're feeling there. You may want to take your gaze slightly forward of your hand so your neck spine is long. You're probably feeling sensation a lot in your legs, I know I am, and your inner arms. See if you can breathe through that. And then on your next exhale, start to send your hips up. Start to send your hips up first before you start to straighten your legs, okay? Send your hips up. Maybe you come to your tiptoes. And then on your next breath out, see if you can sink your heels closer to the mat. They do not have to touch here. If you're finding a lot of sensation happening in your wrists, like it's uncomfortable, you may want to add a blanket under your wrists. I'll show you what that would look like. You can even use blocks, or you can come to your fists. You can make fists or wrists, but I like a blanket. It's nice and comfortable and accessible. Great. Refine your downward facing dog here and breathe. Maybe start to add a little bit of pedaling or isolating your hamstrings and giving them a little bit more space through the stretch. What I encourage you to do is really pause here rather than just kind of pedaling along without any attention. See if you can bring your sole focus to the back of your leg that's being stretched. Maybe even envision your breath creating space there, all the way up from your Achilles, through your calf, through the back of the knee, through your hamstrings, even to the base of your glutes. Beautiful. Maybe take it again on each side, just slowly rocking from one side to the other. Great. I'm going to place my blanket to the side here for a moment. Okay, and from your downward facing dog position, lift your left foot high to the sky. Great, just like that. And then send your knee through and then land your foot. Place your hands to the inside of your foot, okay? If you need to drop one knee and then literally place your foot on at the top of your mat, you can do that too. I do it sometimes and it feels great. And like I'm really honoring my body. Okay, now toe heel your foot out to the long side of the mat here, you may see, and then send your hips forward. I also love blocks here because it just brings the floor a little bit closer to me and helps me stay really open through my chest versus collapsing. So that's another key thing to pay attention to in your body. So first we named the breath, and now we're talking about space, okay? So finding the spaciousness through your body, that openness, that sensation that feels really integrated and good. So here in a low lunge, explore some movement through the top of the right hip, maybe even in the left hip here. You can drop your knee out to one side. It's kind of hard to see here, but I'll turn to face you. You can stay where you are. You'll see a little bit better on the other side. Good. But the main thing is kind of sending your hips forward and down, staying open across the chest. If you have a little bit more of an advanced practice, maybe walk your hands forward, come to your forearms. That can be on the floor or on blocks. You can rock your hips back and forth just to kind of tease away any tension, help open the fascial body a little bit more. Very nice. And then lift yourself up. Good. And this time just come back into a table position. Great. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Be mindful that when you use your hands, you're really intentional, okay? So our hands, like our feet, they're roots for us. So we really want to plant them into the earth, okay? I really like to remember or kind of guide my hands into a position where my index fingers create a number 11. So that's really been a great cue for me. Also, grip firmly with your thumb and your index finger. So you kind of create a little bit of space underneath your palm. Press your fingertips down. Good. Very nice. That's also going to support the wrist a lot more. Okay, when you're ready, lift those hips again. Downward facing dog. Guiding the chest back towards the thighs, sinking the heels down towards the mat. Finding that openness of the side body. Feeling that shoulder area, shoulder girdle open up. Great, and then reach your right foot up to the sky, high as you can, and then start to draw your foot between your hands. Again, you can land your knee and place your foot right at the top of your mat, okay? Walk your back knee back, open your foot to the long edge, and then sink your hips down, forward and down. Good. Again, I'm going to my blocks because this feels really nice in my body. If I was down on my hands, I may kind of have my chest may collapse a little bit. So this helps me stay a little bit more open and really nurse my hip flexors. So we're just in the beginning of a practice. We're moving slowly and we want to be kind to our body. So not pushing or forcing our body into certain shapes that aren't quite available. Okay? So we want to kind of allow our body to ease into position. Great. Here you can again drop your knee out to the side. You can see it from this angle a little bit better. I encourage you to open your toes. That just creates a little bit more integration, or the bones and your muscles and all the tendons and connective tissue really know how to, or they know what's going on, so they support you a little bit better. Good. See if you can stay toned through your belly as you do this. Maybe you come down a little bit more, exploring this position, this shape of your body. Great. And after you're here for a few breaths, come on out. Come on out. Ooh. Maybe you feel a little bit of awakening happening through your hips, and that's really great. And that may encourage you to kind of do some hip circles here. So kind of create a fire hydrant action with some mobility in the hips. I like to do that on both sides, of course, and go in both directions. Just kind of giving the hips a little easing off them a little bit. Good. Okay, and then rest your seat on your heels. And just to open the shoulders a little bit more, place your fingertips on top of your shoulders and send your elbows forward, back, and down. Good. Create some nice big circles through your shoulders. This opens your shoulder girdle, opening up through your chest as you rotate forward and back. And when you come to center, reverse directions. So moving both directions, kind of opening your upper back and mid back a little bit more. Notice what you feel with an inquiring mind. Good. Beautiful. Okay, still staying in a seated position. Here you can take a rolled blanket or a folded blanket underneath your tush for a little bit of height or support. You can also do this with a block or a pillow. So you can see what it looks like. Just resting it between the tops of my back thigh and my ankles, okay? So find a good position here in your body. Good, and then reach both arms up overhead. Good, and then twist to the left. First, twist with your low belly, okay? Before you just crank open or crank to your left, see if you can find that twist, that rotation through your vertebrae. Then rest your left hand back behind you or on the back of your hip, and then place your right hand, either palm down or the back of your hand against your leg. Begin to kind of add a little bit of extension through your whole spine as you inhale. Good, create some length. And then as you exhale, see if you can twist open just a little bit more. Maybe you explore your gaze moving back behind you. And also notice if your shoulders are drawn up towards the ears. Maybe add a little bit of soothing, kind of a soothing message to just calm them down. Maybe feel them kind of relax. Very nice. And then unwind, take your chin forward first, and then the rest of your body. Give yourself a nice shoulder roll. Good, and then reach your arms up again. Good, land your right hand down, or place it in your low back. Inhale, reach up, create length. Exhale, twist. Good. Inhale, get tall, stay grounded through your hips. Exhale, twist a little deeper. You may even explore like a bind here if you like, by wrapping your whole arm around your low back, but no pressure at all. Great. Take another couple breaths. See if you can create a little more ease through your whole body. And then unwind, chin first, then everything else. Good. Add a little bit of movement. Good. And then we'll wind down our practice, coming back to the floor. Good. Maybe you bring your hips down up towards your heels, take your hands around your low legs, just creating a sense of balance. Maybe play with lifting your feet up off the floor, kind of getting a little core work in before we go all the way down to the floor. Great. If you want to play with extending your legs, you can do that. But just be really mindful of your low back. Very nice. And then plant your feet and slowly roll down. So extend your arms forward. Good. Slowly roll down. Slow, slow, slow. Engage through your core. Okay. Keep your chest really open. Your shoulders engaged. Shoulder blades drawing in. And slowly roll, curling your vertebrae down. Very nice. Rock your knees from side to side. Just staying open across the hips. Good. Find a position that feels good. If it's a different movement, go ahead and take it. Yogi's choice here. Great. And then draw both knees in. Take your arms to the insides of your legs. You may know where I'm going here. Happy baby. So take your hands. You can grab your leggings or pants. You can grab your shins, your ankles, or you can grab the outsides of your feet. So that knife edge or pinky toe edge of your foot. Okay? And then see if you can draw the soles of your feet up towards the ceiling. Your knees draw down towards your armpits. Spread through your toes. See if you can kind of allow your eyes to get a little bit heavier and their sockets just coming into the space of release. Continue to move breath through your body. Maybe you sway from side to side, exploring some movement here. Good. Very nice. That can feel really nice on the low back. Great. And then slowly come down again. Rest your feet on the floor, drop your knees into touch. We've done a couple twists already today, but we're gonna do another, okay? So we'll do kind of a modified version of what we did earlier. So place your feet on the floor, extend through your arms, palms up, preferably. Then extend your right leg, Okay, make it straight and then crisscross your legs. Okay, shift your hips over to the right edge of your mat and then drop your knees over to the left. For added sensation in your upper spine, drop your chin over to the right. You can place your left hand on top of your leg just to kind of add a little bit more stretch here in the low back. Go ahead and notice the quality of your breath here. It's a little bit more challenging to get into that low belly, but I believe in you. See if you can really puff your belly up like a balloon, even in a twist. Very nice. And then slowly unwind. Come back to center. Maybe you sway from side to side. Then again, return to the other side. Extend your left leg overhead. Create the binds with your legs. Scoot your hips over to the left this time. Drop your knees to the right. Find your breath. Maybe a yawn too. Good. Drop that chin over to the opposite shoulder if it feels good in your body. One more breath here. And then slowly return to center. Good. If there's any other movement that you'd like to add to the end of your practice, go ahead and do so. But if you're ready, start to create or take up, a lot of space for your final resting pose, Shavasana, also known as corpse pose. This is a very important position. So like sleep, rest after a practice is really important because it allows the body to really integrate all those practices and things that you learned, your body kind of became aware of, the connection between your mind and your body. It really allows those things to sink in. See if you can loosen your jaw. Maybe you remove your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. Maybe create a little space in your hands and your feet. See if you can kind of get a little bit heavier, maybe 1% heavier on the earth. Good. And thank you so much for practicing with me today. I'm going to leave you here in Shavasana. But may the beauty of what you love be what you do. Namaste.